Hey guys, Adrienne with Build a Life by Design, and I'm coming to you again on a Small Business Saturday live to share some tips with you about a time management strategy that actually works. So I'm curious, how many of you out there have seen about 1,000 time management strategies, and they all sound great, but they totally don't work. Like they logically, they make sense, but then when you try to implement them, it's just not helpful. Are any of you guys there? I was totally there. And so when I kind of stumbled across this advice and tried it out, did it for myself and saw that it actually works, I was super excited to share it with you guys. So let's just jump right into it. Now, the issue with all the other time management strategies, in my opinion, is that, they tell you that you need to prioritize. It's all just an issue with prioritizing. You need to logically look at all the things you have to get done, look at the deadlines that they have, and then make the time for things that are important. And although all of those things are true, and yes, it is all about prioritizing, that's not all you need to think about. And that's why all of these other time management strategies fail. So let's talk about what it really takes and what's missing, because I'll tell you what, this is all crap. I mean, it's not total crap, but it's kind of half crap, okay? So let's jump into what they're missing and why this alone does not work. Well, so none of these strategies or pieces of advice address how being overwhelmed feels, right? Because if you're overwhelmed, if you're overworked, if you're underpaid, if you're underappreciated, if your cup is empty, have you ever been in that place where like everything went wrong that day or you were just completely overwhelmed? Way too much on your plate, no way to juggle it all effectively. And then one tiny thing goes wrong at the end of the day and you like lose your mind. Does that happen to you guys? Like death by 1,000 paper cuts? That's totally me. I can handle like the big life issues like a champ, but throw a tiny, 1,000 tiny things at me and I will just snap, right? And it's because of overwhelm, right? And overwhelm has a definite feeling to it. So if you're in that place of overwhelm and someone asks you to put one more thing on your plate, it feels like way too much, okay? And that's why even if you need to prioritize certain things, if you're overwhelmed, it can be almost impossible to actually follow through and do it, right? So this time management strategy addresses not only the priorities, but how you feel about what's going on in your life. Because I would argue that the way we all experience time is a feeling. You guys ever notice that when you are loving where you are, let's say you're on vacation, because that's a great example. Who doesn't love being on vacation? Time goes by so fast because you feel very positive, very energized, very amazing, right? Time moves differently when you're feeling positive than it does when you're feeling negative, doesn't it? Time is a feeling, okay? So we have to address this piece of it or we're never going to be able to take control of our time. So if that's the case, what does it really look like? Well, step one, the very first thing you need to do if you truly want to take control of your time and change how life feels to you, you must stop being the victim. So if you've been in a place where you're thinking things like, but it's not my fault, I can't change it, I don't have control over it, it's not up to me, victim, victim, victim. You do have control, and I'm going to show you exactly how to take it back if you feel like it's been taken away from you, okay? Because a lot of what makes you feel like a victim, it's the feeling side of what you're going through, right? And because we're going to address that, we can get you out of that, okay? So that's step one. So let's all just agree that for the rest of this live video, we're not going to argue, we're not going to be the victim and argue all the reasons why this can't possibly work for me, right? We're going to be open to seeing how we can actually address and take control of our time and how we feel about our time. Okay, can we do that? Okay, thanks guys. All right, step two, you need to conduct a time audit. So before you can restructure how you're spending your time, you have to know how you're spending your time. I mean, logic, right? But, the tricky part about this is that if you are in a state of overwhelm, this can feel like 1,000 things. Like this feels like such a huge job that you kind of want to throw up in your mouth. Is anyone there with me? Okay. But trust me, it doesn't have to be as bad as it sounds. So just think of like big chunks of time. If it's like 8 hours at work, put 8 hours at work. Now, if there's certain things at work that you love or that you hate, maybe you love, the first half of the day because you're working with certain coworkers that just like make you feel awesome. And then you hate the second half of the day, then I want you to categorize it as like 2 different chunks of activity, like draining work, right? Stuff that like just exhausts you. And then fun work, right? So just think big buckets of like preparing dinner might be a big bucket. And then like eating and cleaning up after dinner might be another bucket, right? Or family time or what, but just think about the big chunks of activities and take this audit for about a week. Maybe even 3-4 days could give you a good enough of a view, but weekends differ than weekdays, right? So figure out how you want to tackle that. But do an audit. And here's another very telling piece of that audit. We spend tons of time doing things that we're not aware that we do. One of the huge points of doing this audit is for you to become aware of the things you're not aware of, right? So one little trick of how to do that, look up what is eating the majority of your battery on your phone. It will show you how many hours a day or per week that you're spending on social media, that you're spending on Candy Crush, that you're spending on whatever apps or games or whatever on your phone, right? That doesn't lie. So take a look at that as well, okay? Don't feel bad about anything that's on there, okay? Just simply write it down, okay? This is not meant to make you feel bad. This is meant to empower. So just write that stuff down, okay? And then be super honest about how much time you were watching TV or just kind of staring blankly at the wall at the end of the day, trying to gather your thoughts. Like, be conscious for a little while of how you spend your time. Okay, this part is super important because without it, you can't move on. All right, so promise me that you're going to do this. Okay. All right, so step 3, you are going to categorize your activities. Now, for those of you who are like, wait, you told me it's not going to be the same old crap about prioritizing and blah, blah, blah. I know. That's not how I'm going to have you categorize them. So here's how I do want you to categorize them. I want you to think of them in terms of 3 buckets, okay? Or 3 categories of activities. There's the energy-giving activities, things that fill your cup, right? Things that give you a little boost. Like for the introverts here, maybe being alone is that thing. For the extroverts, maybe it's that happy hour after work where you finally fill your cup up enough to do some of the draining things you know you need to do after you get home, right? Everyone's different. So just make a conscious effort to notice what are your energy-giving activities that you're doing, okay? And then there's probably a whole bunch of neutral ones. It doesn't necessarily give you energy and make you feel awesome, but it doesn't drain you either. It just is what it is, right? And then the energy draining activities, right? Because if we think about how we spend our time, how we actually spend our time according to the audit, in terms of what gives us energy and fills our cup, what drains our energy and empties our cup versus what's neutral, we start to get a better idea of why we feel so busy, why we feel so overwhelmed. And you might notice there's a huge unbalance here, right? And realizing that is part of the first step of taking control and making change, right? So once you've categorized your activities, step 4 is to balance your activities. So look at everything on your list and how you've categorized them. Circle the energy-giving activities that you want to protect above all costs, right? Like you do not want to lose these things because that's the only thing you have filling your cup right now. And for a lot of you, I'm guessing it's a very short list and it probably needs to be longer, okay? But circle the things that you definitely want to protect. Similarly, look at all the energy draining activities. Circle the ones you would love to offload? Like if you just had a magic wand and you could just give them to someone else, which ones would you give away? Like which ones would you just kind of like push to? Let's say you have a magical fairy assistant or something, and she's just going to take this stuff from you. Circle those, okay? And, the neutral stuff in the middle, don't spend a whole lot of time on those. Just move past them. Because what I want you to look at is how balanced are you, okay? And if you see a huge unbalance, you guys, we are chronically guilty, all of us, me included, of not taking very good care of ourselves. How many of you feel like you give all of your best to your family or to your job and don't leave anything left for yourself? I know moms are particularly guilty of this, where you keep saying, yeah, I know I need to take better care of myself, but there's not going to be any buts anymore. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If there's nothing in your day that's giving you energy, not only are you going to burn out and be stressed out, you're probably on your way to a nervous breakdown, okay? So it's important to take care of yourself. And if no one has ever given you permission to take care of yourself, I am giving you permission right now. Good Lord, please take care of yourself. Put some things on your list that give you energy and help you, whether it's taking care of yourself physically or mentally or just whatever, okay? Self-care is important and it matters for everyone in the house, including you, okay? So I'll get off my soapbox now. So then step 5, you're going to look to outsource or trade all of your energy draining activities. And you're going to protect the hell out of those energy giving activities, okay? So a lot of you, this is where it might be easy to slip back into that victim mentality of, but it's not within my control and I can't and I won't. No, okay. There are tons of things I discovered when I did this exercise that I thought were just stuck with me, that there was no one else to do them, that I couldn't possibly ask someone else to do them. It was hard to do, not gonna lie. But there were also a lot of things that once I actually talked to, my fiance, my kids, my friends, where I was like, some of the energy draining activities that just killed me were neutral for them. They didn't really care. They're like, sure, I'll do the dishes if you take over vacuuming, right? Because vacuuming is neutral for me. I don't really care about that, right? There's always some surprising balance that you would never expect where someone in your household, I don't care if it's your significant other or one of your kids or maybe a neighbor kid, right? That's looking to earn a couple extra bucks, that it's no skin off your back to pay them $2 to do some yard work, but holy cow, does it take away some of those energy draining moments for you, right? Like it might be worth it. Just think about it. Think about what can you trade. Ask people in your family how the activities, if they're energy draining or any energy giving for them. You might find that the stuff that's draining to you is neutral or giving to someone else. It's hard to even imagine that in your mind because you're like, who's going to like doing the dishes? No one. But you might be surprised. Don't knock it till you try it is what I'm saying, okay? See what you can outsource. See what you can trade. The things that you really, really need to protect, talk to your family about that. Be like, hey, especially if you frame it up in terms of what's in it for them. I know that I've been super stressed out lately. I have a short temper, right? Like I need to figure out how to get a handle on this. It would super help me if once a week I could have a quiet soak in the bathtub. And once a week at least, like you guys handled dinner and family time so I could go and work out or, read a book or whatever your thing is, right? Whatever gives you energy. Okay. Whatever gives you energy, protect that and talk to your family about like, I would love to protect this time. Okay. You might be surprised how supportive they are if they realize that you will be less stressed out and you will be easier to be around and you'll be happier. People want their family members to be happy. Like, shocker, but it's true. But you have to talk about it. Like, you have to get it out there. You have to do it. You have to follow through. So I hope that this shows you guys that it's why this is a strategy that can actually work, right? And why it's worth trying out, and why you can feel empowered to actually take control of your life and take control of your time and not be a victim anymore, not be overwhelmed anymore, and even in the tiniest ways, start living the life that you want and start feeling more balanced, start getting some more energy in your day, because sometimes getting rid of one energy draining activity can feel like getting rid of 100 of them. And sometimes adding one energy giving activity can feel like you took 100 things off your plate. Try it out. You might be surprised. So I hope that was helpful, you guys. As always, I come here to share helpful tips, tricks, and tools about how to either take control of your life and build the life you really want, or how to build passive income online to create that life you want through business. And of course, if you've been shying away from starting a business or taking control of your life because time is an issue, this links in. It's a perfect fit for all of those things that I strive to help my network with. So I'm Adrienne with Build a Life by Design. I hope that this was helpful to you guys. I help people to build lives of freedom, largely by business building, but sometimes just by sharing helpful information like this. So if you would like more information about how I came up with this stuff or the blog that I've captured it in, let me know below. I'm happy to shoot you some information, and I'll go ahead and see you guys next time around.